blow something up?
Yeah, Hearthstone, big, huge, growing, gonna get bigger and bigger every year. It's just a mass.
But it's how it's growing that's interesting.
And it is a question of what do they add? Where do you dip into this huge world of Warcraft to come up with material for this game? And how do you balance with that? Like if they're going to add, we had Nax and they add new cards with Nax. Like are these going to break the game? Or are they going to be more of like novelty based?
I have a huge question.
I have just played Hearthstone a lot. I know nothing about the stuff that they've released at BlizzCon. I'm a little more up to date on the other games, but I've had complete radio silence, intentionally or unintentionally. So bring it. What do we got?
You had a huge question.
I'll say. Okay, I'll start there. First, big question. Magic the Gathering has gone on for so long, and they take cards out. So before we talk about the cards that they're adding, do you think Hearthstone will get to a point when they remove cards?
Sure.
Or do you think this is going to be, they're just going to keep adding and adding and adding until it becomes just massive? Because 120 cards now are being added. That seems like a huge number, especially because Nax just added 20. So
20 added 30.
30.
Yeah.
So 150 cards in a matter of a couple months. Do you think it'll ever get to the point when they start removing?
Yes, but we're a long ways away from that.
Okay.
So when they do balance updates right now, they change 1 or 2 cards, and with that seems to be working. Every time they've made a nerf, it's done its intended purpose. And 120 cards is a lot of cards, but I don't think they're at the point where they will totally need to remove cards. I don't see, from the 30 cards they showed of the 120 that they're going to do in Goblins vs. Gnomes, I didn't see anything that was so broken that it couldn't be remedied.
Let's talk about Flame Cannon, Ben.
Flame Cannon is a little ridiculous.
We were so annoyed. We played a couple games. Immediately, we're just shaking our head because we battled each other. And whenever one of us would do Flame Cannon to the other
There were like
player,
audible groans. we were very frustrated.
it's this 2 mana, deal 4 damage to a random minion. And we see where they're coming from, where it's like, okay, well, you could have a 1/1 out there, or a 1/2. It doesn't seem that powerful. But more often than not, the enemy has, 1 or 2 strong minions out there.
The other thing that we should say is it's a
2 mana.
mage class card, and
Yeah.
mage already has a lot of effective removal.
That was
Don't get me started on Mage.
Mage is like currently not that amazing in the meta right now, but this card is super annoying because
seems really annoying.
for the mana that it costs,
Yeah.
like in the early game, at the point when you would have 2 or 3 or 4 mana, it's unlikely, it's not that likely that they would have a ton of minions out. Like you get into a lot of situations where you can either clear it with your minions or something else, and
You
would
get
just
it
do
to a point.
you would just do 2 mana for 4 damage to a minion, and it felt a little broken.
felt a little broken.
It felt a little broken.
Let's talk
Again,
about-
we didn't do extensive
Yeah.
testing, but the theme of the cards that we saw, though, the thing I want to get across is RNG. Nearly every single card that we played, random, was in the title.
Chaotic.
Absolutely chaotic. There's a card,
But the theme is Goblins and
Goblins and Gnomes.
So
Goblins.
Goblins,
So chaos makes sense.
It absolutely does, yeah. And the thing that I wanted to say is I was worried that Hearthstone would become predictable, right? So you had Curse of Noxtramus. Oh, they're doing it off this classic array. That's amazing. All these things that people are attached to. I was worried, like, okay, now we're going to get Ice Crown Citadel. We're going to get Arthas. And that's cool. Arthas is my favorite character in the Warcraft universe. But I was like, you could see the path it could go down. And I feel like Goblins and Gnomes is so out of left field. It's so eccentric. It's just like this perfect nest for creativity.
And to add to that too, about it, you can see it going down a path. I personally feel like Hearthstone is in a spot right now where there are a few types of decks. It's very hard to build something that can be competitive at the highest level that is not already being used.
Yeah. When I watch tournaments now, I don't even
It's
need
always
the
the
commentators to tell me about their
Yeah.
decks because I'm like, oh, if he's playing a rogue, he's
Yeah.
playing a miracle rogue. If he's playing a warlock, he's playing handlock or zoo.
So
Like,
just-
I know what they're playing.
So just this chaotic nature, I think, is going to really change the game in a meaningful way.
Right, and 30 cards from Curse of Naxxramas, like, altered the game dramatically. It changed everything. Like, every
120.
single deck and class was severely affected. And I think the thing that's most exciting for me, though, about the 120 cards is not just the volume, but with Curse of Naxxramas, we only saw one class card apiece. And that was extremely frustrating because I feel like some classes got the short end of the stick. Paladin and Druid, especially, and Rogue, like their class cards, no one's playing them. Whereas like Death's Bite is in the majority of warrior decks. And so with 120 cards, you're going to get a ton of new class cards, and that's going to change things dramatically.
And then Goblins too. Goblins are a little more aggressive. They were more damage to anyone, and then Gnomes were kind of give. Certain
Gnomes are more
minions
about
health,
control.
More about control.
Yeah, and
Favorite card, Matter Bomber.
Matter Bomber.
So
So, you know Mad Bomber,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The 2 mana 3/2. It does 3 damage to anything on the board. It does 6 damage to anything.
So
on
it just
the board.
throws out dynamite to 6 random. And it's just chaos.
Yeah, and it's so great because it's a card that whenever you play it, like there's this certain level of like excitement and tension and
Unpredictability.
fear. But that unpredictability, they're going crazy with it. Like we said, so many cards are random. Like there's a gnome card where you play it and you will turn a random minion into another random minion of the same cost. And that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, so if you have a legendary, it's just gonna be another legendary. And there's a lot of cards are what they call piloted cards. And when the card dies, they summon another card of a certain cost. So there's one that when it dies, it will summon any 2-cost card. There's one that when it dies, it will summon any 4-cost card. And there's one
Legendary.
when it dies, it's a legendary and it will summon any legendary. And it's just like, how do you even make a deck around this? Like, there's so much unpredictability and chaos. How do you account for that?
But I like those random cards because it also kind of helps if you don't have like a lot of money or a lot of time to play Hearthstone, and you get a chance to experience some of these other crazy cards. That's why I like stuff where it's like, pull something out of the opponent's deck or steal the opponent's cards. So you're just like, haha, I get to play with this guy for a second and try him out. So I think that's neat, when games offer that, like little opportunities for people to try stuff out.
I think that's an amazing point and something like as someone who has every card didn't think of. Like you're totally right because when we were doing the demo where we only had 2 decks to play with, when I got like a super powerful card randomly, I was like, oh, this is kind of awesome. And I can imagine that feeling is even more accentuated. Like if you've never played Ragnaros before, when you see it come on the board and do 8 damage to his face, like that's got to be an awesome
Is
feeling.
he trolling us right now?
Who?
Are you trolling us right now, Ben?
I'm absolutely not trolling you. I'm being totally genuine.
Yeah, he's being 100%.
I wasn't trying to be
is
like,
funny. It's
oh,
like-
I have every card. No, I wasn't trying to be like that. But I'm just trying to say I get where you're coming from, and I think that's cool.
I think there was a part of your brain that was trying to do that.
No way.
You might not have been cognizant of it at the time.
Brandon,
Brandon,
you
you're just
have-
jealous. You
Brandon,
don't have all the
I've spent-
Hearthstone.
So now
I
Nax
spent
is
too
done,
much money on
and
Hearthstone.
you have all these cards. Are you gonna get? So and then let's end on that note. How do I get these cards?
Yeah, good point.
So
because
when they come out, like, what's the strategy? Are you gonna like build up a bunch of stuff so you can disenchant it and just make it, or you can be able to make all this
Start
stuff? Is there
saving.
stuff you can only get randomly?
they're doing it like one of the best ways that they could. Because if they just threw these cards in the regular pack, I would get super annoyed because your chance of getting, like, if you got a card, if you spent money on a pack and you didn't get any Goblins versus Gnome cards, you'd be like, damn it, you'd be pissed. But they're doing separate special packs. So when you buy those packs, you're only getting Goblins versus Gnome cards, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
And it comes out next month. That was a huge bombshell.
Next month.
They showed all these cards, they announced it, and they said, all right, next month.
Like, Hearthstone came out this year, and
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's been around longer because of
does.
beta and everything.
Totally.
Goblins.
And think about how much it's changed in months. It came out in March. Think how much it's going to change by the end of December. Where is this game going to be next year? Like, I'm used to Blizzard games being like, all right, this will change in 10 years. That'll be cool. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like this game has received so many quick updates that like next year is going to be insane. This year was insane.
There's only one thing we know for sure. The two of you will still be playing it.
Yes.
Can't stop.
If people are watching this video, what are the odds that the two of you are playing Hearthstone while they're watching it?
50-50 probably.
90%.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, guys.
Goblins and gnomes. Goblins and gnomes. Both are super brilliant, but you would never know. Everything they seem to make is faulty or explode.